At the cousin's birthday party, my sister gave out gift bags for everyone who mattered. My daughters had a sticky note that said, "Try harder next year." We didn't make a scene. We just left. The next morning, my sister opened her front door and screamed so loud the neighbor called the police. I wish I could say I was shocked. I wish I could say that when I saw what they gave my daughter, my blood ran cold, or that time slowed down, or whatever it is people say in those dramatic movie moments. But the truth? It felt like something I'd been waiting for. Not in a hopeful way, in a dread-heavy of course is coming kind of way. The party was held at my sister's house, which is basically a Pinterest board come to life. Giant balloon arches in perfectly coordinated colors. A dessert table that looked like it had its own PR manager. Matching t-shirts for the birthday twins that said, "Born to Shine." Kids running around with hand-stitched party bags clutched like treasure. My daughter clutched mine. She's 7. She wore the sparkly hairband she picked out herself that morning, the one she said made her feel like a galaxy. She was nervous before we arrived, she always is with big crowds, but she practiced saying, "Happy birthday" in the car. Twice. She even made 2 little cards herself, one for each cousin. Drew little stars on them, signed them with love. I was proud of her just for showing up. My husband and I stayed near the food table, exchanging polite small talk with people we barely knew. I tried to ignore how my sister barely acknowledged us. How my mom gave me that brittle smile that said, "Don't start anything." How my father nodded once and went back to carving ham like it required surgical focus. Then they handed out the gift bags. Each one had the child's name in glitter letters. Stuffed animals. Bubble wands. Personalized water bottles. A tiny keychain with the first initial. One by one the kids beamed and tore through them like it was Christmas morning. Then they handed one to my daughter. A plain white paper bag. No glitter. No name. Just a single sticky note slapped crooked across the front. In my sister's handwriting, "Try harder next year." My daughter blinked at it. Like maybe she was reading it wrong. Like maybe there was something inside that would explain the joke. She reached in. A broken crayon. A used eraser. A wrapped peppermint that looked like it had been rattling around in someone's purse. That was it. I saw her throat tighten. She glanced at me. I felt her small fingers inch toward mine like she was bracing for something, like maybe she thought she had done something wrong. And then came the laughter. From the adults. My sister laughed first. That high, sharp laugh she does when she wants everyone to know she's in charge of the joke. "She's been acting up lately," she said, waving it off like it was cute. Interrupting, talking back, crying over tiny things. "This is just a little wake-up call." My mother chuckled. "Honestly, it's good for her. You coddle her too much." Even my dad grunted some half-laugh like it was all just awkward but harmless. The other kids laughed too. They didn't know why. Kids never really do. But they followed the lead. My daughter smiled. That tight, trembling smile that kids do when they're trying not to cry. My husband looked at me. Not with shock. With something quieter. Steadier. He crouched beside her. Took the bag gently from her hands and said, "You don't need this. Let's go get some real cake." We stood up. I didn't say a word. Neither did he. We took her hands and walked out of that house like we were walking out of a burning building. No one tried to stop us. No one called after us. Not even my sister. At home, my daughter sat on the couch and stared at the glitter stars on her birthday cards like they might rearrange themselves into a reason. She asked, "Was it because I didn't say thank you fast enough?" I said, "No, sweetheart. It was because some people forget how to be kind." She nodded. Pressed the cards to her chest like they might guard her heart. She fell asleep on the couch, curled up under the soft throw blanket her dad gave her last Christmas. The one that says, "You are safe. You are strong. You're loved." I sat in the kitchen while my husband made tea. Neither of us said much. We didn't have to. This wasn't new. Just final. After a while he said, "I paused the payments. The rent, the grocery card, the electric fund. All of it." I nodded. I opened the drawer where we kept the important stuff. Pulled out the folder I'd been adding to quietly over the years. Text messages. Photos. A printout of the email where my sister asked if I could take care of her kids for a week so she could go on a much-needed solo reset trip. The Venmo receipts. The one where I covered our parents' property tax and they said, "We'll pay you back after the cruise." The folder was thick. I added one last thing. The sticky note. "Try harder next year." I slipped it into a clear sleeve. Right on top. My husband watched me. Didn't say a word. But when I looked at him, he nodded. Not like someone giving permission. Like someone saying, finally. Tomorrow morning I'd drop something off. Quietly. No message. No confrontation. Just truth. They wanted to teach my daughter a lesson? Fine. They were about to learn one too. It didn't start with my daughter. That's the part that really hurts. It should never have reached her. She should have been safe. Protected. Loved by her entire family, not just the one she was born into. But it did start long before her. It started with me. Growing up in my house meant learning how to perform. How to twist yourself into whatever version of a child got the least amount of criticism that day. It meant reading the room before you even learned to read a book. It meant silence was safer than honesty, and pretending to be happy was easier than explaining why you weren't. Emma was always the favorite. That was never said out loud, not directly, but it didn't have to be. It was in the tone of voice my parents used when they spoke to her. In the way they lit up at her stories even when they were dull. In the way my accomplishments were acknowledged with a distracted, "That's good," while Emma's most minor wins were met with celebration, cake, and 50 family group texts. I remember once in 3rd grade I came home clutching a certificate for perfect attendance. I had fought through colds and stomach aches just to earn that paper. I handed it to my mother with pride and she barely glanced at it before saying, "Emma got Student of the Month, you know. That's a much bigger deal." When I brought home a B+ in math, a subject I had struggled with for months, my dad said, "Your sister never brought home less than an A." When I got the lead in the school play, they didn't come. Emma had a volleyball game. A practice game, not even a tournament. But it was important to her, so they said they'd try to make the next one. They never did. Birthdays were the worst. My parties were always joint celebrations with Emma, even though our birthdays were nearly 2 months apart. My name was an afterthought on the cake. One year they gave us one present to share. It was a pair of rollerblades Emma's size. I was always too much or not enough. Too quiet, too dramatic, too shy, too opinionated. I cried too easily. I asked too many questions. Talk back. I sulked. I didn't smile enough. I didn't smile the right way. There were no bruises. No yelling. Just a constant low hum of not measuring up. And then being told I was sensitive for noticing. When I was 15, I came home crying after a teacher accused me of cheating on a test. I hadn't. I was devastated. My mom's response was, "Well, you do keep to yourself a lot. Maybe you look suspicious. Next time, try to smile more and act normal." At 17, I finally got the courage to tell my parents I thought I might be depressed. My mom rolled her eyes and said, "That's the new trend, isn't it? Everyone thinks they're depressed. You're just bored. Find a hobby." Emma told me I was being dramatic, then borrowed my phone charger and never gave it back. By the time I left for college, I was numb. I didn't expect them to come to move-in day, and they didn't disappoint. They mailed me a card a week late with $25 and a sticky note that said, "Don't blow it." I didn't blow it. I got through school. Found therapy. Learned how to name things. Emotional neglect, scapegoating, passive-aggressive control. I learned how to unlearn it. When I met my husband, I was still afraid of being too much. I apologized for crying during a movie. He just handed me a tissue and said, "That part hit hard, huh?" Like it was the most normal thing in the world. He was the first person who ever asked what I wanted for my birthday and actually got it right. Not because he guessed, but because he listened. When I told him about my family, I downplayed it. Made it sound quirky. He didn't push. But the first time he met them, he squeezed my hand under the table. After dinner, he said, "You weren't exaggerating." I let them back in when we had our daughter. I wanted her to have a big family. Cousins. Holidays. Grandparents who doted on her. I wanted her to have what I didn't. It started slowly. My sister commenting on my daughter's clothes. "She dresses a little offbeat, doesn't she?" My mom insisting that my daughter should hug everyone even when she didn't want to. "Don't be rude, sweetie. Give Uncle Bill a proper hug." My dad making jokes about her being soft when she cried at loud noises. Better toughen up if she wants to make it in this family. I tried to explain. I told them she had sensory processing challenges. That she needed support, not shame. That she was doing her best. They rolled their eyes. "You're overreacting. She's fine." Emma called me a snowplow parent. Said I was raising a future doormat. And when I set boundaries, I became the problem. The difficult one. The dramatic one. Every time I stood up for my daughter, it was met with the same tactics they used on me. Minimization, mockery, cold silence. Sometimes they even pitted me, which was worse. She just wants to feel important, my mother whispered once to Emma, not realizing I was within earshot. Let her have this. Like advocating for my child was a phase. Tantrum. And I let it go. I let it go more times than I can count because I kept hoping it would get better. That they would come around. That maybe this time they would see her. Really see her. But they didn't. They saw themselves. Their need to feel superior. Their desire to maintain the hierarchy that kept them comfortable. My daughter was just the next in line for the same treatment they gave me. Only now I knew what it was. And now I had a choice. I could keep giving them chances. Keep letting them break her bit by bit the way they broke me. Or I could stop the cycle. I chose her. I chose me. And tomorrow they'll understand what that means. We didn't sleep much that night. My daughter eventually drifted off, her fingers still curled around the birthday card she'd made for her cousins. I stayed up on the couch, watching the cursor blink on my screen like it was daring me to finish what I'd started. At 4:07 a.m. I emailed the landlord. The one who manages the duplex my sister lives in. I explained that I would no longer be paying the monthly supplement we'd agreed to. That arrangement was unofficial, but the landlord knew my name, knew the rent always came from our account. He replied within 20 minutes. Understood. I'll notify her of the updated balance today. At 4:49 a.m., my husband drafted the letter to the loan company about the car. It was our name on the documents, our credit on the line, our money that made the down payment. Emma had defaulted twice before we stepped in. This time we didn't step in. We stepped out. At 6:02 a.m. we printed everything. Texts, emails, screenshots of group messages where my daughter was called difficult, where Emma wrote, she's going to be just like her mom, oversensitive and exhausting. There was even a voice memo. A clip from Christmas 2 years ago when my mother, not realizing my husband was recording a family moment for posterity, leaned into Emma and said, "Don't bother getting her anything nice. She never appreciates it anyway." They were talking about me. By 7 a.m. it was all in the folder. Labeled. Annotated. Bound with a crimson ribbon I found in the junk drawer. A ribbon from one of Emma's kids' birthdays. I didn't plan that part. It just felt right. At 7:30, we drove to my sister's house. No words. Just the envelope. My husband placed it gently on the doormat. We rang the bell and left. We were halfway down the street when we heard it. The scream. Unrestrained. A sound that ripped out of her like it had been living in her throat for years. I didn't turn around. My husband gripped the steering wheel tighter and for a moment he smiled. Later I found out the neighbor came outside in his robe assuming someone had been hurt. He called the police when he saw Emma on the front lawn, red-faced and frantic, clutching the folder like it was radioactive. When the officers arrived, she tried to tell them it was harassment. That her crazy sister was trying to destroy her life. They flipped through the folder. Then they calmly told her it was a civil matter. Nothing illegal. Nothing worth escalating. It's the truth. By noon my phone had exploded. 38 messages from my sister. The first few were all caps rants. What the hell is wrong with you? You think this is funny? Then came the guilt. We are family. You can't do this to us. Then the begging. Please, you can't just stop paying like this. Because of a joke. Then the threats. If you don't take this back, you'll regret it. Walked. My mother called 4 times. Left a voicemail on the 3rd. You've taken this too far. This family has always had problems, but you just lit a match. What do you want from us? She sounded more angry than sorry. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent the digital version of the folder to our extended relatives. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins. Not with commentary. Just a simple subject line. In case you ever wondered why we stopped showing up. By the end of the day I had 20 replies. Half of them were some version of, I had no idea. One cousin sent a single line, good. For you. The real fallout started 2 weeks later. The landlord followed through. Emma had 30 days to pay the full amount or face eviction. The loan company flagged the car. Her late payments triggered a review and she received a warning. My husband smiled when he saw the notification. My parents called my husband. Not me. My husband. She won't listen to us, my mom said. But maybe she'll listen to you. Tell her we're sorry. Tell her she doesn't have to do this. He told her the truth. She's not doing this to you. You did it to yourselves. They showed up at our house the next morning. My daughter saw them through the window. Her face went pale. I met them at the door. Didn't let them in. We just want to talk, my dad said. This is getting out of hand. No, I said. This is called consequences. My mom tried to cry. There were no tears. I didn't budge. They left a card in the mailbox. One of those generic sympathy ones. Inside it said, "We miss our family." I sent it back with a sticky note. So did I. And then I went back inside where my daughter was reading on the couch, her legs tucked under a blanket, her face peaceful. She looked up and asked, "Were they mad?" I shook my head. "They were loud." "That's not the same." She nodded. That night my husband took us out for ice cream. We didn't celebrate. We just breathed. But in that quiet breathing there was something new. Peace. And it was loud as hell. For about a week there was silence. Or rather, quiet rage humming just beneath the surface. My sister had gone nuclear, sure. But after the initial scream, the flurry of texts, and the failed attempts at guilt, things went dark. For a moment I thought maybe that was it. Maybe, finally, they had gotten the message. They hadn't. 10 days after the front door folder drop, my daughter came home from school with a note in her backpack. From Emma. It was on pastel stationery with little hearts on the edges, like it was meant for a child. Inside the message was short. "If you ever feel sad or confused, remember Auntie Emma loves you. You can call me anytime, even if your mom says no." My daughter looked up at me confused. Did I do something wrong? I felt the fury rise in my throat before I could stop it. This wasn't just about boundaries anymore. This was manipulation. Targeted, deliberate, and low. I called the school immediately. Turns out my sister had used one of her friends' names to get access to drop something off for a niece. No ID check. No oversight. Just a sticky smile and a name. That afternoon I filed a formal no-contact order. With the school, with the district, and with the police. I sent a cease and desist to both my sister and my parents. My lawyer sent a follow-up. 2 days later, a fake account started tagging me on social media. Calling me ungrateful. Posting blurry childhood photos with captions like, "Some people forget who raised them." Another anonymous message read, "Just remember, kids grow up. One day she'll know what you did." That was the final crack. I sent everything to my lawyer, who forwarded it to law enforcement. My sister posted a crying selfie. Captioned, "When your family turns on you." Cue the sympathy parade. Until the truth started leaking. Quietly. One aunt. Then a cousin. Then another cousin. Screenshots circulated. Voicemails were replayed. People saw the receipts. The same way I had. My parents didn't take it well. They tried to rally the extended family with an emergency Zoom call. I didn't attend. But apparently, when someone asked why I hadn't been invited to Grandpa's birthday last year, my mother froze. Someone else asked why Emma had been dipping into the family emergency fund when she's the only one with a stable salary. Another asked about the birthday party, if the story going around was really true. It was. By the end of the call, for people had quietly left the meeting. My parents stopped posting photos of family events. My sister deleted her account. Then came the letter. A desperate, rambling thing from my mom, written in blue ink on monogrammed paper. "Family is messy. We made mistakes. But at the end of the day, we are all we have. Don't punish everyone forever for one misunderstanding. Your daughter will regret this distance. So will you." I didn't respond. Instead, I framed the letter. Hung it beside the sticky note that started it all. "Try harder next year." Then I helped my daughter hang fairy lights around her new bed. She picked the soft ones, the ones that changed color slowly, like breathing. Her breathing had changed too. Easier now. Softer. Not tight and guarded like before. He made new friends. 2 girls from art class. Sweet, curious, gentle souls who didn't laugh when she needed to cover her ears or take breaks. She started sleeping through the night. One morning she told me, "My heart doesn't feel like it's buzzing anymore." I hugged her so tightly she squeaked. And then one last thing happened. At the end of the school year, her class hosted a family day. Students could invite one adult to sit with them, eat cookies, and see their art projects. She chose me, of course. Her project was a painting. Abstract, all swirling galaxies and soft pink comets. In the corner she had written in black paint, "Safe is better than big." On the drive home I asked if she wanted to stop for ice cream. She said yes, then paused. "Mom." "Yeah, baby. You did the right thing. Even if they call you mean. Even if they never talk to us again. You did the right thing." I blinked hard against the lump in my throat. "Thanks, sweetheart. That means everything." She leaned back in her seat, smiling. Later that night I checked my email one last time before bed. There was one new message. From Emma. No subject line. No salutation. Just 6 words. "Are you happy now? You won." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because she was wrong. I didn't win. I walked away. And for the first time in my life I didn't look back. Maybe I went too far. Maybe I didn't go far enough. Sometimes I still wonder if I should have said more at that party, or if leaving in silence was the loudest thing I could have done. I wonder what my daughter will remember years from now, and what she won't have to unlearn because I stopped it in time. But now I want to ask you, if it were your child, would you have done the same? Would you have walked away? Fought back harder? Let it go? Tell me in the comments. What would you have done? Did I do the right thing or did I cross a line? And if you want more stories like this, raw, emotional, and honest, hit subscribe.